From the beginning, it was very important to realize that the main level was going to be the second level. Hi, this is Mandy Rafferty. I'm with Tag Front Architects, and we're at 850 Willow Glen Road. We had already made a decision that we did not want to overbuild. We did not want to do a 3-story house, or so the 2-story was the direction that we were going to go. And we knew that the second level was going to be the primary level. And we knew that it was going to open up to the backyard and the pool. So the idea of the whole thing opening was primarily the decision that we took, with the one exception of this sort of element in the middle that not only the doors kind of pocket into, but it becomes a living green wall on the other side. When you notice the bathroom and the closet, they all sort of interconnect to each other, and there's no barriers that kind of says, okay, this is primarily this, that's that. So even the doors to all the bedrooms downstairs and even upstairs here, are all transparent and glass, which allows this kind of to flow, and if somebody wanted to, of course, they could use some other things to film it or do something with it to create more privacy. But in the sense, the idea of flow and lack of barriers was something that was very important. I think the beauty of this location is about the fact that you're only like a mile up Sunset, yet you feel like 5 miles away or 10 miles away, kind of in the suburbs. It's quiet, it's very kind of peaceful, and it's yet, allows you to get back to Sunset and everything else that's going on within a matter of minutes. With a lot of these hillside, projects, lighting becomes extremely important. But when you put yourself in a canyon setting, where the light is even more sort of limited, and you're kind of like right against the street, there's many things to factor into the design. With the challenges that come with every project, there's always things to think about. Now, it's one thing if you have a 1-acre lot and you're kind of like situating the house as you wish with the lighting and views and all that stuff. But when you're here, you have to be kind of very close to the street because of the nature of the hillside and the fact that there's limitations as far as how far you can go back with retaining walls and all that. You have to take all of those things into consideration. And I think in this case, I sort of looked around the neighborhood and I saw some other houses that were built, and they were kind of doing what you would do on a normal lot, with a bunch of windows facing the street. And I think that became like a problem with the way I thought about this. I thought this house kind of needed to be introverted, not in the sense that it was just a box that was hidden. I thought it could be a volume that was kind of sculptural, that allowed certain, light to penetrate into it with the, facade that we came up with. But at the same time, it gave you this whole privacy, and it allowed the house to kind of like unfold as you went into it and came up and faced, the hillside and the view and the pool and everything else. So it became more internal. The materials that were used in this house, were sort of an evolution of the kind of architecture that we do to begin with, which are usually very honest materials, whether they're concrete or steel or other, plasters or other things and woods. But in this case, it kind of went a little bit further because we're part of the Mulholland corridor. They kind of want things that are a little bit more rustic, a little bit more kind of like with the patina. So we thought utilizing the corten steel was something that would, kind of create a very beautiful kind of a metal that patinaed over the years, kind of blended into the sort of the canyon setting. Naming sort of my own projects is always very difficult. I always say like the work that I do is an evolution of the things that have influenced me throughout the years, and how that keeps changing throughout the years and all that stuff. Of course, I'm a modernist, but I think our work at Tag Front and what I come up with usually tends to be quite a more textural and tactile, with a lot of organic elements and other things that come into play with the modernist layout of the house, which is always about being open, being flowing, creating these connections between the outdoors and indoors that is very important to modern architecture to begin with. With most of the projects that we do, I think a lot of the features have to do with the details in the way that materials come together, transitions, the subtle details of having reveals and sort of things coming together that maybe some people will notice but other people don't notice. When you look into the primary sort of suite, the idea of allowing the clear story above to allow the light to come through, and then the big window to the street that again allowed the light to come from the other side, not having the closet elements go all the way up to the ceiling, creating this openness where you always see the height of the ceiling was a big decision that allowed you to think about the room as a much bigger sort of a space than it actually is. The idea of bringing these rich dark woods, ceramic tiles, and everything else that we use sort of go hand in hand in bringing that level of elegance and a little bit of luxury to the project.
Something that I think is really important to understand about a home built by Tag Front, it's like you're buying into a piece of art. You know, what Mandy's spoken about how the textures, the use of different materials, he didn't want to use materials that over time actually start to degrade, right? He wanted them to show off, right? As the metals patina, as the wood kind of weathers, you're buying into something that is going to age well. It's not just built for the trend of today. It's something that there's been, you know, he's been inspired from a lot of different, you know, different artists, architects, it all comes together in a home like this. And when you buy a piece of art, you know, it's something that you want it to be timeless, right? You don't want to buy just the most popular thing that day. And a home like this, you know, you could compare it to Oriole, you could compare it to Bel Air Road, you could compare it to the Bentley house that they've built. They have, you know, a laundry list of residential real estate that they've built in the upper echelons of LA. And a home like this, you get a piece of it, right? You get all the exact same materials, craftsmanship, thought, detail, but it's a home that you actually could live in. You know, it's not a home that you have to entertain in all the time, but when you do, you know, you could do it really well.